Mr. Shrek, I'm only asking if you would murder your wife or children to prove your devotion.
Well, there is certainly some biblical backing for this question, considering the story of Abraham and Isaac. I'm actually genuinely curious to see his answer here.
It's a simple question.
I don't know what would happen. And by the way, when God decides that someone should die, it's not murder for him.
Well, I feel like as a Christian, you're supposed to be willing to do anything that God asks or commands you to do. That being said, it's still murder. You're not going to get around that one.
Because God kills all of us at some point, and he's the only one that can resurrect us.
Well, death is a very natural process, no God needed. And as far as he's the only one that can resurrect people, okay, sure, in the story, yes, but we can't even prove the resurrection of Jesus. I mean, we don't even know who wrote the Gospels. There are no eyewitness testimonies that we can actually verify. So it's a pretty big claim to say that God can resurrect anybody at this point.
So I don't know what I would do, just like I'm never going to say if somebody put a gun to my head or a gun to my wife's head, what would you do?
Answering this question with "I don't know what I would do" is not a great look. Leaving aside your religious beliefs, there is only one answer to this question. No, I would not kill anybody. You don't need a God to know that.
Because Peter tried that. I'll never deny you, Lord. And what did he do?
He denied him 3 times. Yes,
Yeah.
at the crucifixion.
I don't know what I would do, okay? But let me point out, if your friend is an atheist, there's nothing wrong with God doing anything, because by atheism, there's no standard of right and wrong anyway.
And here we go with the deflection that Frank is so famous for. All you have to do to ignore the argument is to say, well, atheists don't have any standard of what's right and wrong. And yet here we sit, I, as an atheist, have murdered all the people that I want to. And that number is 0. I mean, given the fact that we evolved as a social species, we absolutely do have a standard, and that standard can be summed up as human suffering. And what benefits us the most as a species as a whole is the reduction of human suffering. There's honestly a lot to go into on this topic, and it probably deserves its own video. But yes, atheists can have a standard, and atheists can know right from wrong, no God needed. And I'm sorry, but if you need a God to tell you not to murder somebody or not to do this or that, you're not a good person anyway.
So in order for you to bring up the objection, you're actually stealing a standard from God in order to try and say God doesn't exist.
No, not even a little bit. And none of this is to mention the fact that a lot of the morality and the teachings in the Bible can be found in older sources that were written before the Bible. So no, absolutely a God is not needed for morality.